The movie starts in the city of Los Angeles, where a bunch of police officers are in the middle of a violent gunfight against four robbers who are holding up a bank in Lincoln Heights. While two of the robbers are inside keeping an eye on the hostages, the other two are fighting the cops with automatic rifles and full-body armor, which is allowing them to overpower the police and their puny pistols. Thankfully, a SWAT unit soon arrives. Later at the precinct, Captain Fuller is furious at Jim and Brian for disobeying orders, especially since the wounded woman will sue them for negligence. Fuller fires them from the SWAT division, but Velasquez cuts in and asks him to at least keep them on the team so they can eventually get a chance to get their jobs back. Fuller agrees and relegates them to cage duty, a degrading position involving the maintenance and distribution of weapons and accessories to other officers. Brian is insulted and tells Fuller off, but this only makes it worse for himself, and he storms off in anger. When Jim hesitates, Fuller offers him a chance to get back on the team right away if Jim agrees to rat out Brian for recklessness. Meanwhile, Brian has decided to quit and is now packing his bag. Suddenly, Jim reveals that he agrees with Fuller that Brian was reckless out there, and an argument ensues as Jim refuses to quit too. Brian assumes Jim ratted him out and hits his head against the mirror before leaving. 6 months later, Jim keeps training in his free time, but at work he's in the gun cage, performing menial tasks for other police officers. One day, Sergeant Hondo comes to the precinct and asks Jim to fix his customized M4 rifle. Jim notices the custom job and is impressed. Then Hondo meets with Velasquez to talk about the number of scathing articles criticizing the LAPD, which has caused the chief to order a reform of the department. Velasquez wants Hondo to form a new SWAT unit for him to command and offers two of his own officers, TJ and Michael. After finishing with Hondo's weapon, Jim goes home to find his girlfriend trying to move out of their apartment. She claims things between them aren't good anymore, and Jim hasn't been the same since he was taken off the SWAT team. She tries to kiss him one last time, but he turns her down and lets her leave. The next day at work, it's revealed that while working at the cage, Jim has invented a new piece of equipment that he plans to patent in the future. A gigantic hook and chain designed to take down walls or barricades and end hostile standoffs, which he calls the key to the city. Sometime later, Hondo takes some of the officers out for target practice on the firing range. TJ manages to outshoot Hondo, who bets $200 that Jim can beat TJ. When they return to headquarters, Jim asks Hondo if he's planning on toying with him for another day or if he's actually going to tell him why he took him on this recruitment run. Hondo asks Jim if he wants to be on the team, and when Jim hesitates because he knows Fuller won't approve, Hondo asks if Jim gave up Brian. When Jim says he didn't, Hondo gives him the last spot on the team. Later, during the meeting to discuss the team, Fuller rejects both Chris and Jim as expected, but Hondo refuses to back down. Fuller then offers a compromise. He'll accept the group as it is, but if they fail the preliminary trials needed for SWAT, then Chris goes back to her subway routine, and Jim and Hondo will both be taken off the force. Hondo agrees, confident his new team can do it. Soon training begins and squad members get to know each other. When they have a sniper session that uses cards as targets, the team shows to have exceptional marksmanship skills. They also infiltrate empty buildings in simulation exercises to learn to work as a team and rescue hostages instead of getting them killed. A few days later, it's time for the team's final evaluation, which consists of a simulated hostage situation. They'll have to infiltrate an airplane taken over by terrorists played by fellow officers armed with paintball guns. The goal is take back control of the aircraft by taking out all the hijackers within 8 minutes. While looking over the plane's schematics, Jim notices that there's an alternative entry point to the plane that nobody will expect. A tiny elevator shaft meant for food trays, which no man could fit, but Chris can. The team drives their vehicle underneath the plane and begins opening a hole in it, while one of them climbs over the roof so he can use the window later. To Fuller's annoyance, the new team sets a new course record. That night, the group celebrates by eating at a cafe owned by Deke's father. After a few hours of eating and drinking, most of the group heads home except for Chris and Jim, who go to Jim's favorite bar. While they share more drinks, they're interrupted by Brian, who exchanges passive-aggressive comments with Jim until he decides to leave. On his way back, Brian breaks a picture of him and Jim on the wall. Back to Jim, he tries to make a pass at Chris, but she turns him down before inviting him to her daughter's birthday party. Meanwhile, Alex tries hiring a lawyer, but there's nothing she can do for him, so soon he's transferred away. The next day, the team enjoys their time off. TJ goes on a date, Hondo and Velasquez go golfing, Dakey spends the day with his kids, Michael stays home with his wife, and Jim goes to Chris's daughter's birthday party, where he entertains all the kids with a water rifle. However, everyone gets their fun interrupted when they get an emergency call. There's a Polish hostage situation where a man has barricaded himself in his house and is randomly firing a shotgun out the window. The man claims to have wired all the entrances with explosives, and while nobody believes that, Velasquez refuses to take the chance. Jim volunteers his key to the city invention, which they use to tear down the back wall of the house and neutralize the suspect, ending the standoff in seconds. Later at the sheriff's department, a deputy discovers some details about Alex's true identity. This information is sent to Velasquez, who asks Hondo's unit to intercept and escort the prison bus carrying Alex. Meanwhile, Alex's gang has also learned about the transfer, so two men disguise themselves as cops and use a stolen police car to pull the bus over. They then climb onto the bus and shoot the deputies before releasing Alex. When they're about to drive off, Hondo's team arrives and blocks the street, but the criminals respond by firing, so a shootout ensues. While civilians run away in panic, the team quickly shoots down all the fake cops, and when Alex tries to escape on the stolen police car, they shoot at it until it crashes, and they recapture Alex. After Hondo confirms that Michael is expected to recover from his injuries, TJ pulls out his gun and self-deletes. Back to Jim, he rappels down from the bridge too and lands on a train yard, where Brian takes him by surprise and stabs his hand before running away. Jim goes after him, and after dodging a few moving trains, he tackles Brian to start a hand-to-hand fight. They exchange a bunch of hits on top of the rails, and when a train suddenly approaches, Jim kicks Brian's head into its path, killing him instantly. After Jim rejoins his team on the bridge, Fuller arrives and congratulates everyone for their excellent work, but he also points out that the job isn't finished yet. Alex is still in their custody and needs to be transferred to a federal prison, so the team takes a SWAT truck to deliver Alex to the authorities. Sometime later, after successfully delivering Alex, a report of a robbery in progress comes onto the police band. Hondo points out that their shift has technically been over for 12 hours, but the tired team agrees to head out to their next mission anyway, and the movie ends.